Howdy folks, welcome to another Railroader video. Yes, it's been a hot minute on the channel for some Railroader action, but we got a pretty interesting update last night, the 21st of September. Today it's the 22nd, Sunday morning, taking a look at it. So this is a experimental branch, or think of it like a beta branch or an alpha branch or something like that, but experimental. And it is exactly what it means. It is experimental. Now, we've got all the patch notes here. I'll link down below where you can go and find this, take a look at it for yourself. But if you want to take care of that and get into it, you're just going to locate your game in Steam, right click, go to properties, and then here you have it. Down here under the betas tab, you'll have the experimental build. You're going to want to click that and it'll update your game and all that good stuff. But do be warned, if you use mods, specifically stuff with Rail Loader, there may be problems. I don't use any of that personally. I use some other mods via the Unity installer, mod installer, and they are working absolutely fine as far as I can tell. So let's go ahead and hop in and take a look at what all has changed or is new. We are now inside the game, the experimental branch. One of the big things that's pretty cool right off the bat is within the menu, when you're interested in, say, purchasing a new locomotive, you may not know what they look like, or maybe you do. Anyway, it's a neat thing nonetheless. So when you hit Shift T to bring up your Atlantic Locomotive Works catalog, that's what they call all the engines within Railroader, the AL dub. So now you've actually got little photos, and they're like the old school looking photos within a book, which is kind of cool. And you can see what each and every thing may look like. Now, mods will not appear. Like, for example, I got the Western Maryland H9. That does not appear currently. Who knows if it ever will. It would probably have to be done by the modder themselves. I don't know if any of this stuff works. It does as well. So the freight cars work, as do the passenger cars. So that's just a neat little touch right off the get-go. So something that I was very interested in and taking a peek at here today when I saw that the experimental branch released is there are models to some of the engines, some of the rolling stock. So the models that have been updated are the S23, so the six-wheeler right here. We've got some of the Connies. So we got the C46, the C55, and then the F71 there in the back have all been updated. And then the SW1. I have the SW1 set off separate. We'll go take a look at that in due time. But they have, I think, just overall updated the textures. And they do look a bit better, a bit more realistic. They don't have that just insanely dark kind of black oily sheen that they seem to have had before. I haven't noticed too many things. I've been looking at these for like the past hour, and I don't really notice too many things. One thing I feel like I do notice, though, and I may be totally wrong here, they may have updated this at some other point, is all the rods, the connecting rods and everything. They look a little bit different. They look a lot darker to me. Maybe I just haven't seen these in a minute. And just a bit more worn and metallic looking. They definitely seem to be textured different. I don't know. I may just be seeing things at the moment, but they seem to be a little bit different to me, and they're all kind of like that. So they all look like that now. 55, and then the 71 or the Santa Fe back here, the big boy. But some of the things they did do that I have noticed is like on the bunker back here on the Santa Fe, the extension for the coal is metal now. Prior to the experimental build or the vanilla build, this was wood, if I'm not mistaken. They also removed the naming off some of the sides of the cabs of these locomotives as well, and textures. I believe they updated textures overall on these too, and they do look a little bit different. I can't quite put my finger on it, but just visually as a whole, they do seem a tiny bit different. Now, one of these, I can't remember which one. One of these had like wood trim. I want to say it was the C55, so the big one right here. It had wood trim pieces that were just like a bare naked wood. They're now painted black. I think the names were removed off these as well for the cab side, so like the cab lettering is gone. I don't know if it happened to the 55. Let's go ahead and check it out real quick. So select equipment. We'll customize. Yeah, I don't see anything to, maybe some of these you couldn't do it to begin with. So I think they did remove it from the 46. So we'll do this. We'll click on that one. Equip amount. I'm pretty sure it was in orders. Yeah, so text 46 has got it. We'll try it out. Oop. Yeah, so it's not there now. So you can see I put stuff in there and it's just not appearing. So they got rid of that, which, again, this is an experimental build. So if you're not crazy about it, you don't have to use it. The other thing about experimental is it's for feedback and bug finding. They have noted in their, you know, the little article about the update itself where to report bugs and give your feedback and stuff like that, because they seem to be pretty darn receptive with stuff like that regarding Railroader. You can see like some of the painted bits I was talking about. It's up here on the bunker as well. That wood is now painted black. Looks a bit more modern, you know, instead of the bare wood itself. I'm trying to think what I didn't really notice too many things. I think they just kind of received an overall update, but the LSW1, which is probably my most used piece of rolling stock in Railroader, the old switcher, did receive quite a few updates. Let's go take a look at that. They did indeed update this bad boy right here, the SW1. It's got to be my most used thing in the game. I love using this thing in a game. You know, it's not quite super modern, you know, diesel electric, and it's not quite steam either. It's not overpowered. It's not completely underpowered, especially you got a couple of these hooked up together. But you'll probably notice right off the bat a few things that are different. One of the first things are the marker lights. It's actually got marker lights, which are now changeable, white, green, whatever you have it set to, and numbers, number boards. Now, I know the back didn't have these. I don't think the front had them either. Now you've got number boards on each side, appropriate to whatever your road number is for your unit. Same on the back. The bell, I think the bell model has been updated. You can actually see the airline coming out of the top now. I don't believe that was there before this experimental build, so I believe that's new as well. Please correct me if I am incorrect. The stack has been changed as well. It had sort of like the spark arrestor deal on the top of it beforehand. Now in the experimental branch, it has got, you know, no spark arrestor. It's just more of like a safety cone or something like that. I think the textures were kind of touched up overall on this as well, but as you can see, we'll click on this bad boy. It's 66% condition. Like I said, I use the crap out of it. I beat on it pretty hard, so you know it kind of looks just bleh at the moment, but you know it is what it is. I think the horn has been changed too. Now I feel like the horn model was different before. It looks updated. It looks a little bit more, you know, custom job, a little bit more detailed now. See if I can get any closer here. It looks a lot better to me. I don't recall. I feel like it's been scaled down some too. I feel like the trumpets were much larger before. And again, if I'm not mistaken, I think the airline has been added as well in that little stoop right there too. So I think that stuff was added. I don't believe there's any marker lights on the back. I think they did something to the pilots or the plates up here. I'm pretty sure beforehand there were these studs or rivets there before. And now it's just more of kind of like a flatness, nothing really going on there. We'll get inside. I don't think too much has changed inside, save for a handbrake. Got a handbrake. I don't have any sound for that. I don't know if you're supposed to have sound for that. Again, this is the experimental build. I like the latch or the lock you can see on there kind of doing its thing when it's up or down. So that's pretty neat. One thing I did notice as well, though, is the glass. So I think they changed the glass textures on a lot of this stuff, including the steam engines, which I neglected to mention a moment ago. But it almost looks as though there's no glass now. It's hard to tell. I feel like it looks a little bit better than it did before. It was like more of a prominent kind of bluish purple color, it seemed like. But now, like from this angle, it looks like there's no glass in there at all. So it's... I don't know. I feel like there needs to be some thicker trim or something around the model itself. It, you know, clarity-wise, it does look better. It's still got some shading and like gaps in the model on the inside. That's why you can kind of see the, you know, the weird kind of sun effect through there and not on the bottom. But, you know, it's a little bit brighter in here, which is pretty cool. So the SW1 was, you know, it's updated pretty good. So I like using this thing. I'm a fan of it. Let's see if anything changed. Same bell. Let's try the Huron. Yeah, so it's got the same horn. It's, you know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world to begin with. All right, so we looked at the models. So one of the other big deals with this patch is it's kind of a new era for AI trains, you know. So if you start getting a massive road, right, you know, it's, the map's a pretty good size. You got industries all over the place. I mean, jeez, I got friggin' trains, locomotives, rolling stock sitting everywhere now. It is insane. I've been slacking big time too. I haven't been able to keep up with it personally, especially playing solo. You know, but it is what it is right now. So they have updated some AI stuff as well, which we'll go over. So before, AI was a nice thing to have. You could do certain things with it. Now they've gone a step farther, and trains will actually route themselves to a destination. So I'm still kind of rusty on this, but we'll go over it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click the locomotive. So I got to switch out Dillsborough here, right? We got a couple of cars. These need to go to the interchange. Some up there need to go to the interchange. So I'm going to go up there, run around these cars. I need to get in front of those so I can pull those out up there and, you know, do some switching. Plain and simple, right? So we got the locomotive selected. Going to go to orders. I'll bring this up. We're going to go down here and go to where you see, you know, change from AI and all that. Now it says AE, so it's automatic engineer. You can still set it to road. So if you like the old school way of, you know, doing the fusees or flares or whatever you want to call them, you can still do that as far as I can tell. But we're going to go down to AE waypoint. And when you click that, it totally changes some stuff around. So I'm going to click this little icon here, which is set waypoint. So if you're right up on your locomotive, it brings this up. And you can see, so like just to make it quick, we'll go right over here and say I need this train or this locomotive to come back here. It's set. It's going to start working. Let's see what it does. You would never be able to do this before in one click. Dude likes using the horn. All right, so yeah, you would never be able to do that before in one click. You could set it to the switcher mode, but you still have to set your points or your switches, put your fusees down, or not in you know, switch mode anyway. But still, this is pretty darn neat. Now, what's cool about this is if, like me, you've got a lot of stuff on the map, you've got a lot of work to do, you can't be babysitting trains all the time, right? You know, when you're playing on a server and you got a bunch of buds you're playing with, that's a totally different story. But this is pretty cool. Now, note as well, as the developers noted, I'm going to back up because the horn is loud. Just watch this thing do its thing. This does not work with train meets. So if you've got two trains meeting and you need to sideline one of them, it does not do that presently. Who knows if it will in the future. This being an experimental build generally means with a lot of devs of a lot of games, you know, updates happen hard and fast, you know, so we'll see if that happens with Railroader. But that may be something in the future. Who knows what it'll hold. But as of right now, this is pretty cool. But train meets, you're still going to have to manually set that stuff up, or you could simply go to Bryson and go to the tower, the CTC tower. So what's cool about that is it would actually give you a chance. Say you like being a dispatch, you know, setting up trains and lines and things like that, and that's all you want to do. Well, then this is perfect for you. It's kind of like SimRail in that regard, the Polish rail sim, where if you just want to do dispatch, you can do that 100% now. Well, I'd say about 90%. You'd still have to, you know, set up trains and set switches and things like that, but look at it. It's crazy watching this thing like kind of do its own thing here. I just had to click one friggin' time. That's pretty awesome. And he should stop and toot here in just a second. So yeah, you'll need to be wary of train meets, or just use the CTC control tower inside of Bryson, which is of course just about in the middle of the map up here. And there it is. And there it is. He let me know he did his task. Said arrived at the waypoint in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And that is that. I mean, how cool is that? I don't know if the bell is going to continue, but I'll set it back to manual. There we go. Independent fully applied. Now the bell is off. So auto engineer, you can read into that and test it, you know, as much as you like. I just kind of wanted to go over it in a brief sense here as to not let this video run on and on and on and on. Now, something else they did was add new loads to gondolas and, you know, or the short-sided gondolas and, Jesus, what are the other cars? Brain fart. Brain fart. What is it? What is it? Let me think. Hold on, I'm just going to have to look it up. Hold on 2 seconds. The word of the day is hopper. That is the word I was looking for. So the gondolas and the hoppers, they have added a fill to. So this is at the sawmill right here in Whittier, obviously. And they added an actual load in here, which is nice. So before it was just empty. It does look like wood chips. Looks pretty nice. That's actually a really nice looking texture, to be fair. Damn, that looks really good. Yeah, so it's wood chips, sawmill, do their thing. They'll load each one. You know, it doesn't look too rectangular or anything like that, or too squared or angled. I think that's the word I was looking for. It looks good. It looks realistic. It's got a very nice color to it. So let's see. I'm curious to see if they did anything with the coal. Let's take a peek in the back of this bad boy right here. I think that's pretty much the same. So let's see if they changed it in the actual coal gondolas as well. All right, I had to search for a car that had coal in it. I found one here at Bryson, and I don't think it's changed, so it's pretty much the same. I mean, this is still technically a gondola, not a hopper, but it says gondolas and hoppers, but it looks pretty samey to me. So yeah, I don't know if they did anything to it or, you know, the copper mines or anything like that. But something else they did do is something that I have been really, really looking forward to, and that's adding new buildings, new assets to just make this map come alive, make it a little less bare, and just look more natural and realistic. Here is a... Oh, they did. Yeah, we do have new loads. Okay. That looks totally different, right? Am I tripping out, or... I feel like that looks different. It looks a lot more smooth. And the coal texture looks a lot better in there. Huh, maybe that's... Yeah, that's coal because that's going to snowbird paper. How about that? Damn. All right, so I think they did fix that as well. But anyway, back to the buildings assets. I've really been looking forward to that. I'm glad they finally gave us something. You know, it's just an appetizer, so to speak. But we'll go and take a look at one of the two things that they've added asset-wise. Okay, so down here at Whittier, they added this little building here. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a freight office or something like that. I'm pretty certain that wasn't here before. It definitely looks like a new model. If we can go in it. It doesn't have anything in it like some of these other things do. So it's pretty bare. Again, it's experimental, so they're probably just playing around with stuff, seeing what they like. We need a lot more of those, man. We need some old cars, some old vehicles, maybe some, you know, some deer, some... I don't know, some horses, cattle, goats, stuff like, just, you know, we need more stuff, and I am desperately, desperately looking forward to that. But we got that building, so let's go look at the next place. So it's Whittier and Dillsboro. We'll go down here to the map. We'll do the Control-T shuffle. And we were actually just here a moment ago, and you probably saw it for yourself, but I forgot to mention it. This is the other one here, which is probably, again, a freight house. It definitely looks like an old freight house. But again, it's a nice new model. Looks good. It's got a totally different color to it, which is cool. Don't see anything inside. But that has been added as well. That looks good. Add some stuff to Dillsboro, which is very nice. Oh, wait a minute. I'm an idiot. No, they totally... Hold up. They totally changed it. So, yeah. That's the passenger depot. Yeah. Okay. So that is different. Okay, so that is all inherently new right there. So they totally changed it because it was the old kind of Southern Railway look, the green and yellow. And then they added this little office over here as well. So that's just like the one down in Whittier. They may have snuck a few more things in here. I'm not totally sure. But it's cool that we got that. So that is very nice. I would like to see a lot more of this. Please, 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 please. One of the other things they added to the experimental branch, which a lot of people may not be cool or keen about, is the time issue. So before you could kind of, let me open up my menu here. So before you could kind of change the time or the speed of time. In this experimental branch, it is just 1-to-1. You cannot really do much more than that. So before, I believe it was down here under features, you could change the time. So, you know, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 4-to-1, whatever speed up time. Me, personally, I never really used that because the railroad has always been so busy in this save that I didn't have time for the day to friggin' run out, you know? So what I would do is set cars out in an industry, let them sit, get filled, empty, whatever, switched out, and then I would go on to do something else while that's going on. I had no issue with that whatsoever. If I did need to speed up time, you got the old wait 1 hour right here that you could hit and speed up time. So that's one of the things they got rid of as well. But, you know, as far as the experimental branch, that's it. As of now, again, with it being experimental, I would imagine they'd add a lot more stuff in a quick time fashion. I'd still love to see a lot more optimization of the game, a lot more assets added to the map overall. I want the game to look like it did when it first released. I definitely feel like the graphics quality have been degraded considerably since release, whether they've been notified or patch noted. They have gone down. The level of detail or the circle around the player or your view has shortened, so like distant mountains will just be bare-assed and it looks a bit ridiculous. Give us options, you know. Again, like I've said this, kicking a dead horse, I know, I've said this a million times. If your PC can't handle it, you simply turn the slider down. If it can, you turn it up. It is so simple. Like, let people choose their own destiny with whether or not they want to catch their computer on fire. Don't limit it for everybody, you know, because that kind of sucks. I want the game to look good. I want some more grass. I want to see further trees. I want better level of detail again. And I don't want distant mountains. I mean, just look down there beyond the, you know, just about the bridge, how there's no grass. It just, and it goes, the closer. It didn't used to do that. It would actually load or spawn much farther. I mean, look at the mountain in the distance there as well in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Of course, I pan around, you can't really see it. I definitely want to see stuff like that. I'd love to see stuff like that focused on, then of course assets added to the game. We got a ton of rolling stock as is. I'd be totally chill with some new stuff, but you know, we'll see where they go from here. I just wanted to go over a few things, guys, just in case some of you weren't aware of this situation, because they love to sneak these little patches out in the middle of the night when old Shawnee Poo is in bed after watching college football all night, screaming at my Florida State Seminoles. But that's it for today, guys. Hope you found the video informative. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.